Hi everybody, welcome to my channel again for a new video where I am going to share you a new series where I will be going through AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Exam Preparation series, and today we'll be having the episode 1. So here I will first explain the exam, AWS Cloud Practitioner Certification exam, what is the structure of that, and then I will start with the first episode for the basics of the cloud computing technology, and then again for future episodes I will be explaining the rest of the subjects for the examination. So welcome to all of you. Let's start the episode 1. As I said earlier, I will just first explain the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Foundation and Certification. What is this? The structure of the examination. First of all, let me tell you that this is a foundational level certification. This is the first step towards the AWS certification. So, if you pass this certification, then you will be certified as you know the cloud knowledge, and you have the basic understanding of the different services available in the AWS clouds, and then that is the foundational knowledge that you have that certification actually tells that. So this is a foundational level certification, and from here on you can go for the associate level certification or the different specialized certifications. You can go from here. So this is the first step for that. Next, as per the structure of the exam, there will be total 65 multiple choice questions. Here, these 65 questions, most of the questions will be you have to select only one option among the options that will be given, and in some of the questions it will be it will be specified in the question itself, just select two options. So you have to select two options, best options. So it might happen that all the options or maybe more than one answers are correct, but you have to choose the best possible answer, and then that will be the correct answer in that case. Next, the time of the examinations will be 90 minutes, and for the non-native English speaking people like Indians and all, so they will get 30 minutes extra. Then there is no negative marking. That means if you answer anything wrong, there will be no negative marking present. So as I mentioned here, that case, if you don't know the answer, then you have to guess. You can guess it, and if it is wrong, then also there is no penalty at all. So better don't leave any question unanswered. Just answer it as per your luck, because there is no negative marking present at all. So now the preparation time, how long will it take to prepare for the exam and appear for the exam? So this is actually it is my recommendation, or as per my understanding I'm giving here. So if you consider like 9 hours per week, if you give 9 hours per week for the preparation, it will take around 6 to 8 weeks to prepare for the examination, and you can then appear for the exam. Okay, so for that, the 6 to 8 weeks that I have mentioned here, in that 6 to 8 weeks, you can say like 3 to 4 weeks you can spend to acquire the required knowledge for the certification, and then next 2 to 3 weeks I am suggesting that you just do some practice exams. There are a lot of practice exam already present in web. Okay, you can go for Udemy and other stuff. So there you have a practice questions for cloud practitioner. So you just do that practice examination for next 2 to 3 weeks, so that you will get confidence on the exam structure, and you will be get to know that whether you are ready for the exam or not. So this is the basic fundamental structure of the examinations as per the certification exam is concerned. I have just given the basic structure of that. Next, and next one is it's not a tough exam, I must say. It's not at all a tough exam if you give time and you just study for this 6 to 8 weeks, means that not less than a month, 2 months or something. So then you will be able to pass it. So I don't think it's a very tough exam. So anyone can study and give the examination. Now, let's start with our today's study. So what are the things that we'll learn today is like these objectives of today's session is like, first thing is cloud computing deployment models, and what is cloud computing and what are the different types of cloud computing deployment models we are having. So that we'll explain, and then we'll explain the benefits of the cloud computing. What are the benefits of the cloud computing? So those are the basic things I will explain here. Okay. So now let's start with the what is cloud computing. What does it mean actually? So if we go as per our knowledge, the traditional client server architecture we are having, where we have a client in place and we have a server somewhere in a data center, and then the fundamental traditional client server architecture, what it does is like it's client from the web browser, you type something and you press the enter, then it makes a request to the server, right? So it makes a request. Suppose in Gmails, okay, you just type in your username and password and then you click on login. So what it does is actually it will just send that request, the username and password, it will send to the server, and what that server does is like it will just come check the its internal database and authenticate with those provided username and password. If the authentication is successful, then it responds back with all the inbox information and said that your login is successful, and now these are the mails that you are having in the uh, in a response. So in the traditional client and server architecture, you have the client which makes some request and the server that fulfills the client's request with some more data, and then again client makes some more request and then server fulfills that request with some more responses. So this way this transaction happens. So the similarly, actually for anything like if you're going to for a shop, okay, and you are buying to go to buy something, then also this you make some request that you give some money and ask for some things, and then the shopkeeper will give that things to you in response. So this is the traditional things that is happening. So what is cloud computing then? In the cloud computing, what it happens is like the same request and response things happens here. Suppose I over the internet I ask for some resources. Suppose I want a server, I want a compute resources, I want some hard drive to be present. So I just request from my web browser, and in response to that, my cloud provider will provide me that resource. Okay, so this is like it's a paradigm shift, you can say, where your resources, yeah, is not present at all in your own database, or sorry, in your own data center, but it will be there with the cloud provider, and you would request for the resources through a web browser or through some means with some tools, and then in response to that, your cloud provider will provide you the uh, particular resource. Okay, so that means in traditional data center, first you have to assess that what amount of resources that you need. According to that, you procure all the servers and everything, and then you just do the deployments, and then you will have that particular things ready. But here you don't have to actually guess the capacity first. Whenever you require some resource, you just ask for it, and you pay, you commit the payment for that, and then you will get the resource at all. Okay, so, as soon as you give the request. So that means the cloud computing here, the access service on demand. So whenever you have the demand, you ask for it and you get the resource accordingly. Next is like in traditional data centers, you have to commission the data center. You have to procure an Apple space, and then you have to procure the rack. You have to procure the servers, and its corresponding disk, networking. Everything you need to set up. You need to set up the physical access to that data center, and then cooling needs, everything, power, everything you need to do that. You need to put a lot of money to commission all those things, and then after that only it will be, your infrastructure will be ready, and then you will be you can deploy your application on that. So that means whenever you will be thinking that I need to deploy something, I need to give a new application or a new web application you want to launch. Then uh, first thing is that you have to invest a lot of money to have provision those infrastructure. So in cloud computing, it is not required at all. You don't need to pay anything upfront. Lot of investment is not at all required. So that's a big change. Okay, so in cloud computing, you don't have to the large upfront investment is not required. Yeah, this is similar to the first point only. The provision computing resources as needed. Suppose, as I said in the first point, like whenever you need a resource, and then you just request for that, and then you will get the resource accordingly. So now what is happening that suppose you launched a website, okay, and first week there is not such not much of a demand for your website, but somehow you are very popular now, and now a lot of people are actually hitting your website. So now you need to increase the capacity of that. So that provisioning of computing resources is you need when you need much more capacity, then what you can do is that with a few click only you can increase, or you can make a settings in the cloud computing compute platform that whenever the demand will be high, you just increase the capacity of the my server, so that it will be done automatically. So the provisioning of the computing resources as per the need, it will be changed. The scalability, the name of that is scalability. Then suppose in a traditional data center, you in the first when you just provision that your infrastructure as per your sizing, it is like you have provisioned a big uh, server with a capacity of say 1 terabyte. Okay, of hard disk drive. So now you have a 1 terabyte of hard disk drive. Then what happens is that like in future, suppose 2 3 months, you find that your capacity is not that much. So you don't require that much of resources now, and it is the utilization of the resource is much lesser than whatever you have provisioned. So that means all the resources, suppose it's like 20 GB. Okay, you are using it's 20 GB. So let's rest of the memory, it is not utilized, but you have already paid for that. There is no way that you can get back that. But in cloud computing, what happens is that you only pay the amount of resources that you are using. So that is one of the point. Next, there are different types of cloud computing, cloud deployment models present. Okay, so one is the first one is the cloud, where the deployment is done totally on the cloud. And suppose you have a data center and you have an application, you just migrate that application to cloud. So there will be nothing in your data center, everything will be in the cloud. So that is one deployment model. And then second one is the on premises. So that is our traditional data center model, where you have your application deployed in your on premises data center set up by you. And the third one is like the hybrid. So hybrid model is like you have something in the cloud and something in on premises. So suppose you have an application, it's a traditional application, and you have everything in the cloud, but you have a need, like you need to put the backup somewhere, so that in case of disaster you can restore that. So to make that provision of the backup, you can use the cloud resources, where you will just put the backup in one of the cloud storage, and then as per the feature of the cloud computing, it will be highly available, so you're not going to lose that backup. And the second example might be like you have a big data analytics job or batch program that you need to run, that will take a lot of resources, and that resource requirement is not every day, but maybe in a 1 month once you need to run that analytics job, so or batch job. So then you can make use of the this cloud environment to make that batch program run, so that you will only pay for that once in a month only for few hours for that job, and rest of the time you will not have to pay anything for that. So in this way, there are multiple use cases, Michael, for this hybrid model. So just to explain, as per the exam is concerned, we have three types of cloud deployment model. One is the cloud, means sometimes we call it as a public cloud, and then we have the on-premises. On-premises means it's totally data center, this traditional model. Sometimes it's also called the private cloud, And the third one is the hybrid, where we have the cloud as well as our own data center, physical data center present. So both of them are used in that case. Okay, so now we got to know the different deployment models of cloud. I'll go to the next section. So I'll just try to explain about there are multiple cloud providers at present. So like Google Cloud is there. Then we have Azure from Microsoft, and we have AWS from Amazon Web Service. So as per the AWS cloud is concerned, this is the largest cloud provider in the world now. And then Amazon Web Services began its journey in 2006. Earlier, what used to be there is like, as you know, the Amazon.com. It's a big retail chain, and they have different web services present in their system. So what they have done is that they use this web services in their own use in their website. But from 2006 onwards, Amazon Web Service begins its journey from an in-house system to a business offering to the rest of the world, so that they started this as a business, okay, as a cloud business from 2006. Okay, so now this Amazon Web Service AWS is used across vast domains with varying size. We have large enterprise, startups, small and medium-sized business, public sector, everywhere now AWS is present. And then you name anything like from Netflix to a lot of enterprises and lot of applications is now hosted in AWS. Next, we have in AWS we have more than 200 services already present now in the system, and then everything is like 200 plus services are present and across the globe. Okay, in different domains. Okay, now we'll go to the benefits of the cloud computing. As I said earlier, the variable expenses. You are not paying a constant upfront expenses. You are just paying whatever you are using. So this time you just make remember this. It will be there might be some questions in this way, like trade upfront expenses for variable expenses. The upfront expenses will be not be there, and it will be everything will be variable expenses as per your use. Okay, so only you will be paying whatever you are going to use. Next is the cost optimization. No longer need to manage your own data center. If you don't manage your own data center, the cost will be much lesser, because the physical things like the physical security, cooling, power, everything you don't need to take care of. You just focus on your application and your customer need requirement, your business. You don't require all those heavy lifting. You don't have to take care of at all. So you just focus on your business objective. Now the capacity sizing, you don't need to have to do any capacity sizing at all. Stop guessing the infra capacity. You don't need to guess at all. So you deploy your application whenever it is required to be as with the demand increases. It will be automatic. It can be scales whenever it is required. So it can scale in or scale out depending upon your demand increase or decrease. It will be done automatically. Then economies of scale means, suppose because of the huge customer base of AWS, suppose a particular they will have a big data center, okay, and there in that data center a lot of company will be hosting their application as per the cloud offering. So whenever the number of customer increases, because of that huge customer base, AWS can provide a much lesser price for the resources. So because of the huge customer base, AWS can achieve higher economies of scale, and then they can offer the lower pay as you go price. So they will give lower price in that case. Speed and agility, less time to provision new resources. Suppose you are just going to you have a new idea of building some application or something, but in traditional way, if you have that idea to be realized, what you need to do, if you just first need to provision the infrastructure, and then once the provisioning is done, you then only you can do your experimentation. And in the process of your experimentation or idea realization, if you find that whatever you have guessed about the infrastructure infrastructure that is wrong, you need to increase or decrease something, and then what you need to do again, you have to do the procurement and do all those stuff, and then only again you can go forward with your idea. So now in this case, in the cloud computing, that is totally gone. Okay, whatever what you want to do is like whenever you are have a new idea, you want to realize that, you just click a few buttons in the cloud front end, in the cloud console, and then your particular infrastructure provisioning will be done automatically. So that means the less time to provision new resources, what it will do, it will do more time for it to experiment. So I'll get more time for my experiment. Whatever all this provisioning and all those tasks and what everything, or the time lost for that, it will be less, and then you have a faster innovation cycle. Global in minutes, AWS global infrastructure present across the globe enables low latency accessibility of the application from anywhere around the world. So then if I deploy my application, I can make sure with the cloud, AWS cloud, I can make sure that it will be available to everywhere in the world with low latency, as because of the huge presence of AWS cloud across the globe. So now I have we have different AWS services present, and there are different categories present. So I'll just try to give a brief overview of those categories here, and then from the next episodes, I'll just try to explain each and every services which are relevant to this particular examination. So first is compute. So compute is the basic thing. Like if I need to deploy any application, I first need to have a compute resource, like a server, like a Linux box or something. So that is a compute. So in AWS, this the most popular compute resource is EC2. EC2 resource, EC2 server is present, and then we have network and content deliveries. We have different services, a lot of services present to set up a virtual private cloud network in cloud, AWS cloud. So there are different offerings to make it secure, more, to make it much more faster, less latency. So for to enable all these stuffs, we have different services in place for from AWS. Then one of the major important service category is like storage category. So in this there are multiple offerings in that. We have S3 bucket, we have EPS volume, EFS, there are a lot of services present. I will come back to that, and it's a very important topic in that in the examination, so I'll come to that in the later. And then we have the database services. We have in AWS, there are multiple types of database services present with the traditional Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, everything is present. And with that, NoSQL database is also present. There MongoDB implementation is also present in AWS in the name of AWS Document DB. So there are a lot of database offerings present. So we'll come back to that in the future episodes as well. And then we have security identity. So in the cloud computing, security and compliance is a big issue, and we need to take care of that, as it is everything is hosted in publicly in the internet. So that for to ensure that everything, the security is actually ensured. So this is the most important thing to make my application, make my network secure. So there are different services present, so which we need to provision, and we need to configure properly to make my application secured. Okay, and then we have the management and governance. We have the AWS account in present, and in that, inside that model, we have different applications, and everything is network, everything is provision. So there is something, some way we need to manage that. So there is some management and governance services are present. So we'll explain that also. Whatever is relevant to the examination, we'll come back to in later episodes. Now that's all about the first episode of this series. Okay, so we today what we learned is like the what is cloud computing, what is the basic structure of the cloud practitioner examination. We got to know that, and then the next thing we learned is like what is the benefits of the cloud computing, and then we got to know about the AWS cloud the basic structure and what are the different service category presents, we got to know that. So now you have some few tasks to be done. First thing is that you just learn about these things, and if I have another video with the basics of the cloud computing present, I will give that link in the description also. Just go through that, so you'll get an interest on that. And then the next task is, like, if you like the video, please put the like button in the video, and then it will be encouraging for me. And then the subscribe my channel also, so that you will get all the episodes, coming episodes for the certifications and everything I will share with you. Next is, you just feel free to provide your feedback in the comment section, so that it will help me to make my presentations or make my videos much more creative and useful for you all. Now let me know what kind of technical videos you are interested in, so that I can also put those videos in the coming future, and it will be helpful for you as well. Okay, I'll come back with the next episode very soon, with the next part of this particular preparation tutorial. So just stay tuned. I will be coming back very soon. So, and then one everything is talking everybody is talking about chat GPT and then artificial intelligence. Please let me know in the comment if you are interested to know about more about this chat GPT and artificial intelligence, so that I can prepare a video for that as well. Happy learning. Thank you. So we'll come back to the next episode with much next tutorial. Till then, goodbye and stay learning. Happy learning.